It's the morning show, K101, 738.
And we are pleased as punch to have in our studio Tech Bites with Barclay. What's on the menu, Mr. Holt? That's kind of...
CJ, you just lead off and we'll go from there.
Well, you know, and we do this once a month, and quite honestly, we're basically a week early, or usually it's the last Thursday because of Thanksgiving Day next week. We're going to do this early, and it's always I look forward to this because, you know, there are a lot of things that, you know, it's the same old thing, but it seems there's always something new at High Plains Technology Center. And I know that's, you know, your staff and you and everything, but it's not static out there. There's always something new.
That's the beauty of, I guess, the career tech is that, you know, and that's kind of what they pride themselves on and have always historically,
right.
Ability to pivot. You know, we do a lot of short-term things, I mean, that happen, and then it seems that the world has taken that on. Kind of it seems to be the shift in education is like that. How quick can you get them out, and what can you do? And so it's really played into what we have done historically for a long time. But it just you know, once it becomes the buzz term, or once it becomes something that gets shouted from the rooftops at D.C. or the state capitol, it just all of a sudden it becomes the deal. And really for our crew, it's what they've always done. It's all they know.
The Woodward News, I think this was day before yesterday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. A full page color photos of a lot of your students. The morning diesel program. There's 20 kids there. The Wind Tech program, 12, 15 or so. I don't know. Yep. Multimedia. There's a picture of one of your Wind Tech, James Heckert, and LPN students. And I'm going to talk about some of your health stuff today, too, because I don't think we've done that. That's just a marvelous
well, you
integral part of health.
Diesel, and I'd throw welding in there. You got a picture of
right.
Diesel. But those two programs, I mean, years ago, it just makes sense in Woodward, Oklahoma. If you look out, I always said I'm not near the smartest guy in the room, but smart enough to drive down the road and tell agriculture and the energy industry runs a lot of our state, and it is very vital right here in Woodward, Oklahoma, and just those programs fit there. I mean, our kids, and so we've doubled down. We've gone to 2 instructors in each of those programs.
Wow.
That's been built by Jamie Spillman and Tracy Borden, and then. Jesse Palacios and David Parada have been the other instructors we've had in there with them the last couple of years, and it's just been really, really good to have those. It's what kids want to do. It's things they can get a job at. The diesel program, they go right in their CDL through that, and so it's just been a good deal.
Yeah, there's a picture of your of some of the CDL students, and I think sometimes people don't realize what a leg up that is in terms of employment and in terms of more money and better benefits, the whole 9 yards, when you can go through a CDL program.
Yeah,
it's down here in 34th and Hanks Trail.
When we started that 2 years ago, got the statewide program to come out here with Central Tech, and they literally said, you know, if we get 5 or 6 people, we'll have a class, and we've yet to have a class under 8. They were going to send 2 trucks. They send 4 all the time. You know, between all the industries in our area and employers, it stays full. And then you always got an individual or two that just, hey, want to get their CDL and do that. And then like during our summer, we run that high school class, those graduates from high school during the summer, and we'll get 8 or 9 of them. And then, you know, that the CDL crosses over every industry. It's not specific to anything. And you talked about wind there a little bit. I mean, twice a year there's 15 to 20 young men, young women coming out of that program that are going to go to work. They'll graduate here 1st of December, and every one of them will have a job starting.
If they don't take a job, it's because they don't want to move to some particular place or something.
If it's because they don't take a job, it's because
their own darn fault.
Jack Day is not. Yeah, he wears them out, and those industries just, they respect Jack so much. They respect our team out there, that the wind industry looks to those guys to send them kids, and so they just have jobs. That's just the way it is. So,
you know, you talk about the ability to pivot and modify. You know, I don't know how long the wind program's been around, but it hasn't been around all that long. Who would have thought several years ago that there'd be a demand for wind tech.
I started in 11. I think Taylor started in 10, and I think that grant was written in like 9. And I've said this 100 times, but we take a beating and we beat on government funds and grants and pointless money, but that is truly one of the grants that actually worked. I tell our legislators, our congressmen, anybody I get a chance to visit with, that there's an example of, $2 million is what that basically ended up being in grant money that today employs, give or take 30, 40 students each year. We train. Taylor, if he was here, could tell you the exact numbers, but we've got 15 to 20 people coming through every week, different people getting recerted for different stuff across that industry. So it's just we're at the top of the game in that, and that's something Woodward can be very proud of.
You've modified your space. It's been for probably a couple years now. If folks haven't seen what you've done with respect to the health sciences, is that the Sue Mitchell?
Yeah, the Sue Mitchell wing upstairs. We just took that. We had some classrooms. We had some meeting space upstairs, and we remodeled that. And the whole goal there, again, was to get students. If you take wind, you take LPN, you take CNA, you take the CDL program. I just felt like it was imperative that if I'm a student as a 16-year-old, as a junior or sophomore, whatever, coming out there, if I could see where I could go to in Woodward, Oklahoma, right here in my own backyard, it was a lot better. Then secondly, my instructors can work together more easily if we've got them right there across from each other. So that space, we have labs that run down the center, which was the old corridor that ran up there upstairs, and then we've got our CNA class up there, we've got our LPN, and we've got our health careers, which, I kind of look at this like, our middle school program feeds to our daytime programs then feed to our adult programs, and we're continuing to try to build. That's the goal. That's where we're headed, is to try to put more of those daytime programs out there that are, they're filling the void. And to do that, you have to be flexible in that. You can't require that it takes 20 to have enrollment, because we don't need 20. I don't need a full-time program that does 20 plumbers twice a year. I need a full-time plumbing program that does 5 in the fall, 5 in the spring, maybe 5 once a year. And that's where we're headed, and you have to be flexible in doing that. And that's what we've done.
I know you're looking, and some you can talk about and some you probably can't, at least just yet, to expanding some other areas with the Technology Center. There's a lot on the horizon, exciting things.
And that's what I was kind of alluding to is, we've gotten pretty good. Mickey and the LPN program, they've been 100% on pass rate for the NCLEX the last 3 years, which is something that me and her sat down the other day and talked just about how we can market that across the United States and what we could do to – we figured it out. I would challenge, there's probably not another program in the United States that's been 100% NCLEX pass rate, and that's every student that took the program, every student that graduated. That's a cool deal. And I said, we need to continue to. You don't think about yourself all the time. Maybe in Woodward, Oklahoma, being that icon, but we need to be that, and need to look at ourselves as that. And I don't know why we can't. But talking about the other programs and pivoting to those, like we've done it with CDL in a short term, we've done it with CNA in a short term class, and what we're looking at is how we do that with, like I said, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. There's a host of them out there. That can be shorter term things that once a student graduates from high school, or an adult student out there that wanted to retool themselves, they could come back and get just whatever program. Just dream something. We could do it in a 5, 10, 15 week program, 20-week program, and that's where the world is. They don't care that they've done it for 7.5 years anymore. It's just not the model. And we've seen that with master's programs and everything else. Well, why can't we do it with these? And we're doing it.
A young man, young lady that says, hey, this sounds kind of cool. I may want to get into the Wind Tech program, or a CDL, or diesel, whatever, health services, whatever, multimedia. They just call the main number, or pop in, and you'll direct them. They'll direct them to
through the website,
through
the number. I'm still old school. 256-6618, and you can get somebody there, and Miss Anita's going to answer the phone every day. That's we're old school still that way. We still answer the phone, and Then the website, obviously, there's online portals and stuff to do that. What we've seen is just the growth of all that. I told you earlier, looking at going back, we're about to embark on getting that diesel welding construction building, and that's to have some of that.
Now talk about that. You're expanding
it's
out
just
there.
because you see that number of students, and you mentioned that at the start of the deal. In our diesel and welding, we're running 40, 50, 60 kids now, and quite frankly, our shops were built to teach components. They weren't built to manufacture, or even like in our diesel program, we can't pull a truck all the way through. Well, if you're going to be if you're in diesel business in Woodward, Oklahoma, or you're working on that, you need to have the truck and the trailer, the tractor and the trailer rig in the shop, and they need to be able to pull through. It just makes sense. That's what that will accommodate. Construction, we do those houses. Tracy on the welding side builds a trailer. Pake's putting a tiny house on that trailer.
Okay.
We've always done those, and those two programs are working together. They need space to put that inside, because the quite frank part is you get a kid in there for 2 hours. If it's raining that day, you can't work on that project or whatever. And so we got to be able to, it's kind of like our wind deal. At the first of when Dwight and them did the wind program, they put the tower outside, and they learned real quickly you can't bring people in from all over the United States for training on a 3-day period. And Oklahoma, you never know, it might rain that morning and have a tornado that afternoon, so that's we had to get that inside, and the same goes for those programs. But it's because of what those instructors have done. It's what they continue to elevate the interest, and then we got to accommodate it. So that's where we're at.
You mentioned construction trades and Pate Carlson. I haven't even thought about them. What a tremendous program has been forever. What he accomplishes there.
Yeah, and that's and just to that, our shops were built, and Pate was. He's definitely a leader in that of, hey, I can teach them how to put boards together, frame, square things up. I can do it on a small scale, but the reality is, it doesn't matter what construction company you mention out there, they need somebody that understands a smattering of all of it. And that's what getting that shop space outside will do for us, because those will be, I think those spots will be like each individual bay will be about 85 by 80 for each one of those instructors. So it'll be a nice space for them to be able, and open to be able to spread projects out. And then in diesel, it will be our diesel program, but they can, like I said, availability to pull through all the way.
You tossed out some names, and I quite honestly don't know how you do it, but you can have the best school, you can have the best facility, you can have tremendous opportunities, but if you don't have the staff or the personnel to plug in to those instructors, and you mentioned the wind guy and but Gaines and Burnett, and I'm going to leave somebody out. I'm going to start mentioning them. But why you got a tremendous staff?
Gaines and Burnett would echo what I'm fixing to say. We are only as good as our instructorship, and that's just the way it is.
Yep.
And I tell our staff all the time. From Miss Anita that answers the phone
you got a
call
Jill there,
to the ladies that clean and guys and gals that do maintenance and transportation. That's where it happens. It doesn't happen. And those instructors, then they're. It's high stakes. We teach hard. We expect a lot of them, but we have absolutely. We're just blessed that way, and it's been it's fun to watch.
How many employees just off the top of your head? Full-time employees.
Yeah, and
for the most part.
We added 5, for Beaver County. We're fixing to add a construction welding program. It's going to have welding and construction embedded together because of just population and getting started out there and trying to figure out kind of where things go, and then space. We're renovating space, working on stuff out there all the time, and then trying to utilize a lot of existing space that's up. And then we're going to do a health program there at Beaver, so students will have opportunity at all the health career stuff that we offer out here. So at the high school level, so we did the 4 TAP programs last year.
Talk about that a little bit, because we
put a TAP program at every school in Beaver County, because the reality is there's no way they could travel an hour and 15 hour and a half to here. So it just made sense, and it's different than the way the rest of the state does things, but I think we've proven at High Plains that works. We lead the state in terms of getting students, high school students, to our programs. We run at about 55% this year, and that's ahead of the state by probably on an aggregate, it's probably 25% ahead. I mean, Darren at Northwest at Alva and I are always at the top end of that game, and we're very fortunate. And then that's just that's our recruiting ground. That's getting them interested in what they would do. So it just made sense in Beaver County to do it that way. And then we're going to have, we'll see how the dollars and cents play out over time to how many programs we put there and the need. I mean, again, it's all driven by need at our place as to what we're going to try to put out there and what we're going to try to do. So
I think you were telling us that superintendents are coming to the school today. Tell us about that. What happens there?
Superintendents, once a year, we just kind of get together, and it's timely in terms of, calendar updates have to be done. Those calendars need to be approved surely in March, February time. So we always kind of get together this time of year, and quite frankly, with the addition of those 4 schools out there, I mean, just kind of state of the state on terms of where we're at, what's working, what's not working. There's probably a little deeper scheduling stuff going on with Don and Don and Nickel out there and that crew, just trying to kind of logistically, because the reality is, I mean, I said this, I told that when we were out there talking about that vote that, if you never had chocolate pudding, you don't know how good it is. And I love chocolate pudding, but if I never had it, I might walk past it, and so just once they've had it, and even on the scheduling stuff, if you've never dealt with that, that a kid has to be back and how am I going to handle this or that or another, that's things that we're just having to walk through there. So we'll get to do a lot of that today.
Got a couple things else I want to touch on in this. We talked about this full page of the Woodward News. Corbin Kanzler, a health career student, officer. One thing I've noticed about your place, your kids are active in those FCCLA, HOSA, Skills USA. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah,
but there's an emphasis on that, right?
Just 2 days ago, and I don't know why. I was walking down the hall, and we had our first state officer. It was just kind of blew my mind when I came over to High Plains that we had never had a state officer in a CTSO. We had our first one, I think it was in 16.
CTSO now for us.
Career Tech Student Organization.
Okay.
FFA is one of those. I mean, obviously HOSA, BPA, Skills USA, DECA. All those are CTSOs, and we had never had a state officer at High Plains up until, and that was in 16. And I mean, that was a big push because it's something that, I mean, I say all the time, you talked about the staff, and I mean, the reason our staff's so good is because we live in Northwest Oklahoma. I mean, we don't, people know that in the morning at 7 o'clock, they probably ought to be getting up and headed to work, or somebody's their neighbor's going to come check on them and see if they died last night, and in the eastern half of the state, you can sleep all day and they may not check on you, you may start stinking. I mean, so anyway, it just is, it's something that our people and then our kids, and so it was such an easy deal once we got involved in it. I mean, our kids shine, and that's, and they need to shine. We need to tell them how good it is out here, because employers know it. I mean, there's companies that come in this area all the time, and that's the first thing they echo is that, man, don't deal with the same problems we deal with everywhere else.
And I love dearly talking to you every month, or Don or Taylor or whoever, but when you get those young people up here and see the progress that they're making and the kind of outward appearance they make in the public or with
cool,
that's
deal,
a big deal.
Cool deal. CTSO story just happened this week. We had a young man, he told me, and I'm going to mess this up, but he told me he was 15, I guess, because 9 years ago, I'm not real good at math, but I think that's what he told me. He graduated, it seems like yesterday.
Okay.
Was in Service Careers Program. My experience with Kyle Whisenhand was with a CTSO and loading up a lawnmower one morning. And that was, I saw him in class every day, knew who he was. Fast forward 9 years, he was back here in Karen Rogers' program, went on. I honestly don't know what Kyle's done with his throughout his life the last 9 years, but came back the other day. I'm sitting there in the CDL graduation, and there's Kyle Whisenhand come back, and he's working for Pioneer Telephone doing fiber broadband stuff. And I mean, I'm like, how cool. I mean, it just you see him go through, and I don't know if it's CTSO, I don't know if it's Ms. Rogers, I'm quite sure it wasn't me, and it's more about, again, the young people we have. But here he is, right here in our community, right here in our area, taxpayer, not in jail. I mean, the important things that I worry about every day. So, I mean, it's cool. It's cool when you see those moments and you get to be a part of them.
Hey, we got to let you go and off to school, but I'm not going to let you. This is kind of partly personal. I'm not going to let you out of here. But your family's got a big wedding. Tell us about that.
The wife and the daughter have a big wedding, and my checkbook's not big enough. How about that? Yeah, Saturday night we're going to. Her and Caleb Townsend, the ag teacher here, are getting married. So
super. Well, anyway, congratulations to y'all.
Yep, congratulations to them. So.
Oh, Barclay Holt, superintendent of the High Plains Technology Center. We do this at least once a month. Probably need to do it more. Tech Bites with Barclay. What's on the menu, Mr. Holt? Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.